Nice to see some SAPEX members on. Our new member, Billy, has just joined us, Bugeni, as a member.
Hi there.
Our friend from Atara, one of our Pitch Parade finalists. Nice to see you, Leko.
Okay, let's kick off. Hello and good afternoon to everyone on the call. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bongeni Ndlovu. I'm the general manager of SAPEX. SAPEX, of course, is the professional body for supply chain management in Southern Africa. And our key objective is to educate, empower, and elevate supply chain professionals and organizations in our community. We do that by providing educational programs, events, and industry engagement opportunities, such as this webinar. A key part of our mandate is to support emerging businesses who we believe form a critical backbone of the supply chain. Thank you for joining us today at today's webinar called Winning Work in 2026 for Sales and Marketing for Supply Chain SMEs. And essentially, the question that we're going to be addressing today is how do SMEs move from chasing work to being chosen for work? Many of the emerging businesses face the same challenge, which is not necessarily capability, but visibility, credibility, and consistent business development. So we're hoping at today's webinar to discuss relationship-driven selling, positioning, and how smaller firms can compete effectively against larger ones who are more established. I'm pleased to introduce our speakers for today, our esteemed panel of experts on sales and marketing. Firstly, our own Claire Fincham. Claire has been involved in association management, sales, and marketing for over 30 years. She has consulted extensively with associations on marketing events and has organized numerous conferences. And Claire has also been involved with SAPEX since 2008, and she serves as our marketing manager since 2020, giving her a very deep insight into how a professional community can influence business relationship and build credibility. Our second speaker for today is Hila Balzagu. Sorry for the pronunciation of your surname. And she is from an organization called Shelf, which is a specialist B2B marketing company. She founded Shelf, a boutique marketing agency in 2019. And before that, she was the head of a marketing and multinational company running campaigns in 15 different countries. And she's a self-diagnosed customs clearance compliance nerd. She's carved a niche for herself within the supply chain and surrounding sectors, and has worked with South African SMEs looking to break into international markets and international freight and logistics service providers. So if you've ever downloaded a white paper of American giant Blue Yonder's website, or perused an import VAT rate table from VAT IT's website, it's likely that Shelf produced it. Hila has helped over 160 B2B organizations with their content marketing strategy and how to hang her hat within supply chain and make it her home. She chose to do so rather in 2023. She says that she hasn't slept more than 4 hours per night since AI's release in November 2022. Although, from what I understand in her presentation, I think she's become quite adept in using AI. Welcome, Claire and Hila, and thank you for joining us today.
So excited to be here, and hopefully
Thanks, Bugeni.
there'll be lots to learn.
Okay. Before I hand over to our esteemed speakers, I just want to make a few quick notes for the audience. You will receive the recording and materials after the session. Please post your questions and comments in the chat throughout the webinar. We will address them during the discussion or Q&A segment after the end. And if you want to participate virtually during the Q&A session, you'll have an opportunity to raise your hand to be recognized. So without further ado, I want to hand over to our first speaker, Claire Fincham. Starting with you, Claire, on your presentation on what strategies should SMEs adopt when selling in 2026. Go ahead.
Thanks very much, Bongeni, and to Hilla for partnering with me in this presentation. She and I will share a few ideas to help you sell and market your products and services into the supply chain management space. We will give you some examples. And of course, there are more elements that can be discussed, but we have a short time in which to do that. And many of those will be handled by Hilla. But she and I are very happy to engage with you separately after this presentation or anytime when you need some advice pertaining particularly to your products and services. I'll also share suggested 7 steps of selling with you, and Hilla also has some practical workbooks. So we hope it'll be a practical and very useful presentation this afternoon. Sales reality for supply chain SMEs in 2026 really is still about conversations, just smarter ones. Supply chain buying remains really relationship driven, trust-based, and risk adverse. I talk about relationship driven, and that's the relationships that you have created already in your businesses, the contact database that you've already created, email addresses that you've gathered from all of your activities. We like to think that you have done great work. So it's the relationships really are trust-based, and you can use the good work that you've done to be able to elicit and garner trust from your clients and potential clients. Obviously, it's very important to be risk adverse, particularly for yourselves as a company where you don't over-deliver or underprice, but at the same time, you still are able to deliver to larger organizations who are wanting a regular supply of goods and services nationwide, for example. So that's always something to take into account. Automation and AI opens doors, but people close deals. I listened to a podcast the other day about the fact that humans still need humans. And yes, AI is really a tool that we can use to enhance our work life and streamline a lot of our processes, but people close deals. SMEs win by being relevant, known, and credible. And that talks to the 3 points at the top. In supply chain, buyers still buy from people they trust and not just systems that they click. I'm going to just quickly cover these 7 steps of selling. As Bongeni mentioned, you will be getting these slides so you can think about this in your own time and make some notes about what your actual specific points are relating to your organization. But the first is to have a SMART goal and objective with your client. So you're now engaged in discussion with them. You've managed to get that meeting, to get that call, and it's important to determine what your goals and objectives are, both as a seller and a buyer. Have a SMART outlook, being specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and timed. Summarize the objective. What do they need? What is their pain, and how are you going to fix this? It's while you've got their attention, it's important to focus on, and we hear this all the time in selling, what is their pain and what is your solution, and keep mentioning that. Then you need to agree to proceed. So that would be, may I send a product to you for you to test it as a sample? May I send you a link to our solution and how another client has used it? May I send you a quote? those kinds of agree how to proceed. State the idea. Tell them again what you're going to be doing to help them. Explain how, the features and benefits and value proposition of what you are selling. Reinforce the benefits that relates to point 2, and use words like which gives you, or resulting in, or enabling you to be exposed to a whole new different group of people, for example. And then closing, you always go to the next step and suggest a timeline. There are various types of closing. One is a trial. So for example, if we agree on delivery dates, we should meet your deadlines. You can summarize the closing, summarize the key action, and recommend the next action. For example, have I missed anything? Well, in that case, I suggest A, B, C. An assumed close. After the presentation close, confidently say, based on our discussion, I will arrange for 2 products to be delivered, or this link to be sent to you, or my sales representative to come around and see your facility and how we can help you with our service. There's an alternative close, which gives the customer a choice, and that makes them feel a little bit more empowered, but this must be acceptable to you and you must be able to deliver it. For example, next week, or pay a 50% discount, or we'll give you a trial run. But that's really got to work with your business model as well. And as I mentioned in the first slide, we have to be risk adverse when you're a small business. A special, obviously, give a discount if ordered this month, or an early bird close. Just talking about closing, I suggest all of you watch Jordan Belfort on selling a pen. It's on YouTube. I'll put the link in the final slides. He's the original Wolf of Wall Street, and it's a really interesting clip to listen to him on how he sells a pen. He doesn't sell you a pen because you need a pen. He tells you that you need a pen. It's very clever. I'm going to just pick on 2 aspects of sales techniques that I think personally work very well in the supply chain space. Of course, there are more, but we're time constrained. And I really wanted to chat about telemarketing. It really works and why it still matters. So I mentioned earlier that humans need humans. People like to chat. Yes, we're busy. Yes, there's deadlines. Yes, buyers have got a lot on their plate. They're bombarded with a lot of different solutions, and some of which will be from your competition. But telemarketing isn't dead. I think bad telemarketing is. Warm calls versus cold calls. There is always low-hanging fruit. Go and do your research. Sit down with your team and decide who your ideal client is. For example, is it in the Gauteng-based area because that's where you're based and then you don't have to travel too far? Or is it African-focused because you have an online technology solution that is easy to transport? You need to know the company. You need to know the role. You need to go onto the LinkedIn page and see what they do, see what the conversation is saying, where you can maybe pick up their pain points, and then know what that pain point is and how you can fix it. Now, don't just assume that you're going to be able to fix everybody's pain points, because maybe you can't. You're a small business, you've got overheads that you need to meet, but you also need to make some money, and you don't want to be in any risk area where somebody says to you, sure, I'll take your product, but I'll pay you in 90 days. So just be careful of that as well. Have short, respectful conversations. You only need 30 seconds to earn the right to continue. And always have, I'm going to say this a couple of times, quick insight sharing calls rather than selling calls, sorry. So you could say, I noticed on LinkedIn that you had mentioned that you had a bottleneck in a production line. I'd like to let you know that our solution can really help you with that. Or that the quality of for example, pallets hasn't been up to scratch. It's very difficult for you to get them at a reasonable price. We make environmentally friendly pallets, and I'd like to share my profile document with you, or I would like to have a meeting with you. May I send you a WhatsApp with some dates of when you could be free, and those kinds of things. Use calls to validate needs, book meetings, reconnect with dormant clients. Dormant clients is a big thing. For example, in the SAPIX database, we have a lot of people who haven't renewed, and we really do reach out to them in a telemarketing space. That slash is a little bit of an upselling exercise, and it's working really, really well for us. I would like to suggest that you use WhatsApp a lot more than a straight call. We have things like Truecaller, which block telephone numbers. And I would like to suggest, this is my own opinion, that if you have a photograph of yourself on your WhatsApp profile, you can always have a business line, of course. That really helps because it makes it more personable when someone is saying, "Oh, who is phoning me?" Oh, it's an actual person. And they may then take the call. Obviously, if they don't take the call, you can then send them a message that says, "Hi, this is Claire from SAPIX, and I'd like to speak to you about exhibiting at the annual conference." I think that will be excellent for you for exposing your brand into our high-end decision-making community. And then follow up. You can also use an opener. We work with similar supply chains facing this challenge, and is this something that you are seeing too? Another technique that I think that everybody needs to look at, and of course I'm completely biased, is selling through associations and industry platforms. Borrowed trust beats cold outreach. And I really do feel that being a member of an association or working with an industry platform, you don't necessarily have to be the president of an association. You just really need to use and abuse it. And that is what associations are there for. And why they matter? It's built-in credibility, shared languages and standards. You're all talking the same stories. You've all got the same challenges, and warm access to decision makers. How you should use them is through their membership directories, attending webinars and events, and well done to all of you for attending today, and offer to speak. That's what Hilla did. She is an SME member of SAPIX, and we had a meeting about her needs and how I could help her promote her organization through the SAPIX platforms, and she and I agreed that we would do this presentation, and hopefully some of you may reach out to her and give her some business. Send salespeople to manage stands. So say, for example, your association has a conference and there is an exhibition element. You don't have to take the biggest and greatest and most well-situated stand. You can take a kiosk or something smaller, but make sure that your stands are manned by decision makers and salespeople. If you have an ops person sitting on your stand, they're going to be doing the work. They're going to be sitting on their laptop and not engaging. And have somebody there who can make a decision quickly and offer a special offer, who understands that your product can suit this person, and you can almost there and then say, "We'll give you a free trial for a month, and then we'll have a meeting at the end of that." So really try and nab the person. If someone is coming up to your stand and they're interested in your products and services, that is a real lead. Beyond committees, forums, do volunteer and working groups. You will be networking with people, and you will never know where you're going to get a sale from. I really do suggest that if you can, do sponsorships at the right scale that suits your organization, and make sure there's a real return on investment for what you want. Enter competitions like the Pitch Parade, the SAPIX Pitch Parade, and other funding. There are many funding organizations out there and competitions, Shark Tank type competitions. Enter those if they are free, and spread the word. I'm going to ask Connor to put the SAPIX SME membership into the chat, because we do have a small business membership offering that really does help you promote your goods and services through our platforms. Association platforms shorten sales cycles because you're already engaging with people in the same space as you, and you're seen as a peer and not as a vendor. I'm on my second last slide. A few more low-cost sales techniques that work in supply chain and that really focus on consistency, follow-up, and in-person visits. Referral selling. Ask your happy clients directly. Ask them for testimonials. Brief ambassadors. Excuse me. Focus on account-based selling. sales lead creation. As to an earlier point, identify top 20 target companies who's your ideal customer, who you know you can comfortably service and still make money. I strongly recommend in-person visits. I've been on a couple of marketing and sales forums on LinkedIn, and there's been a big debate about whether you should, and I'm using inverted commas, waste time in going to see people. But I strongly recommend, from my point of view, that in-person visits work. They're hard work. Takes a lot of time. You've got to put on lipstick if you're a woman, and you have to take the time to go off and meet with people who maybe then forgot, and then you have to drive all the way home. But I strongly recommend, if you can get an in-person visit, and I have found that people have been very welcoming to that. We are almost sort of hitting pre-COVID time where humans need humans, and they're very happy to sit down and hear about what you have to offer. Ask if you can have a walkthrough through their production facility or their warehouse, and maybe you can see if there is a need. Follow-up discipline is very, very important. Make this a KPI for one of your staff. Most deals are lost through silence and not through rejection. People are busy, mailboxes are busy, WhatsApps are busy, so keep going gently and elegantly with trying not to nag. Re-engage with past clients whom you've already done work for. Maybe you have a bigger solution, a better solution. What's changed since we last worked together? How can we help further? What product can we give you that enhances what we've already given you, etc. Many media publications need content. A publication is not going to go to print with 24 adverts in it. It needs meaty content. And often publications are desperate for that. So find publications that work for your industry, share stories, case studies. If you need to take a banner ad, buy the cheapest strip ad, banner ad that you can. Make sure there's a call to action, and just sort of really contact business, Cape Business News, for example. If you're in the logistics space, logistics news, they love human interest stories. Talk about how you've started your company, what your offering is, what your solution is, etc. You don't need volume, you need relevance and consistency. I won't read this out, but I received this email to my name, Dear Claire from Sapix, offering me storage for my bulk petroleum products in the Netherlands. I mean, if that wasn't even so inappropriate, I was very angry and did a very large unsubscribe. So just be careful with things like that. Make sure you are targeting the right people, those 20 target companies. Always have a call to action. Stickers, business cards, links, email addresses, telephone numbers. Clarity over hustle. Be clear about who you serve, what problem you solve, and why you are credible. Focus on that. You all have great ideas. You've taken the brave step of starting your own company and registering on CIPC and having to send VAT returns. You have a great, credible company, and so market it, market it, market it. Hella will give you more ideas on that. Sales success comes from showing up consistently, doing great work, adding value before asking, and also just giving 150%. I really do believe that everybody should be doing that. Staying visible in the right places, and SMEs do not need to be louder, just clearer. I urge you to, after this presentation, and once you've got the slides and the workbooks, to just take an hour out with somebody else in your team and really work through a sales and marketing plan and focus on what's working for you, what's not, how much money you have for advertising, etc., and then really put a plan together. In 2026, small businesses don't win by shouting louder. They win by being easier to trust and easier to find and choose. Thank you very much. I hand over to Helen now, and thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Claire.
Well done, Claire. Thank you for that. Some great insights there, and I like the quotes, clarity over hustle. Go ahead, Hela.
Okay. So it's not, this isn't so much I talk and you listen sort of passive thing. Marketing is a massive place. There is so much inside it. Every single lane you choose has sub tactics. we could be here for a year. So what I wanted for everyone to get out of our session today is your napkin marketing plan for 2026, because sometimes you just need like a push to get it done, and a way of thinking that helps you to work out, well, where do I go? What do I do? Everyone's telling me to do. Someone told me to do LinkedIn. Is it right for us? So what I'd like you to all get out of this session here is knowing what will be right for you to choose in 2026 based on your business. And then if there's anything tactical that you want to ask about, you can ask afterwards, or just get in touch with me. We don't need to do that. Okay, so there's certain things. I am a B2B marketer. So for anyone that's here from B2C, I don't know a lot about your world. So I'm not sure if what I say here will help you, but sometimes different perspective will help in anyone. So most of what I do is always from a B2B marketing perspective. In B2B marketing, there's something you can't change. It's just fact that 95% of your market will not be buying right now, and only 5% of them will. But we market and we sell and we do activity like we're selling to the 95, but there's only 5. And then we shake our heads and go, why is it so hard? Why is no one listening? Because you can't change the fact that 95% of your market is probably banked, or they're not ready, or they don't know that they have a broken leg. They might not realize that they're not in the market. That's why marketing has this funnel called awareness, consideration, and decision, because a lot of that 95% is happening in awareness. You cannot control until they're ready to buy. And what you can do with the 5% is be known that they must just know you when they are. So going back to what Claire said, these three principles. Marketing, if relevance and being known and credibility is important for sales, it's marketing's job to try and do that all earlier without you having to be in the room. That's marketing's job. How do I get people to know my business without me having to tell them about my business? How do I create relevancy? How do I let people know that I am the solution to something? And credibility is, how do I prove that? And for SMEs, this is important because when you're small, you're trying to prove better is too difficult to positioning, and biggest also too difficult. You're always trying to prove that you're the safest choice. And when you change that in terms of trying to work out your positioning and why they should choose you, answer the question of, why am I the safest choice for my prospect? And that will help you and set you free, rather than trying to compete for why are we the best. That helps a lot. And credibility, when it comes to we're the safest, is a lot easier to prove. But marketing's job is to try and actually create the audience so that you have people to say that to, or prospects to say that to, because you can be credible, but if no one knows who you are, doesn't matter. So relevant ties in with the marketing stage of awareness. It's, are you relevant to my problem? Can you help me? So, and again, a positioning tactic here is, yes, in marketing, we obsess of what are my prospects' problems and how do I solve them? But there's an amazing book by a half South African, half Scotsman named Richard Mulholland, and he has an incredible question that is brilliant for when trying to work this out, your relevance to someone. It's not what their problem is. It is the only problem that matters is the one that only you can solve. So it's not what are my clients' problems? What is the problem that only I can solve? And then you're away, like you can go. That's how you bring relevance. I am the only company, we are the only ones capable of solving that very, very unique problem that you have. It's a unique problem, it's not a unique solution. And then you set free when it comes to your messaging and positioning. Being known, it's a very simple thing. It's, do I know you? Do I know that you exist? And marketing's job is to just make sure that this happens and track it in some kind of way. So cold email gets a bad reputation. People hate it. It's whatever. But if the goal of a cold email is to get a meeting, the numbers are tiny. If the goal of your cold email outreach is to land in the perfect prospect's inbox and to say, hi, I'm Hila, this is what I do, I'd love to help you, and they're in the 95%, so they go, I don't need you, but they know who I am. Marketing's job, tick, because now you can nurture that, you can take those leads and put them somewhere else, but they have to know who you are in some way. So either you're doing it on your social channels, or you're doing it in associations, or you're doing it going direct to everyone. But marketing's job is to make people known. And credibility, when you're proving your credibility, you have to show it. This is what I tell every business that I've ever worked with, and it's where so many people get their messaging and positioning wrong, is saying that you are available to your customers 24/7, or that you're really dependable, or that you really care about your clients. That's not credible. That's not trust. I still don't believe you. Anyone can say that. You all know that all your competitors say exactly the same things. So building credibility, you have to dig into your company to prove it. You have to find an email or a WhatsApp from a client that says, Sally, leave me alone. I'll get it to you, so that your credibility on we're amazing customer service is, Sally will phone you 30 times if you haven't given her the correct documentation for the shipment. That's proving good client service. Or you have to look for those things in the business to illustrate credibility. It's not about just saying credibility. Find ways to illustrate it in your business. And it doesn't have to be, they're not supposed to be website worthy. They're supposed to look like things that happen on the ground in your business, and then pull those out. And that's how you prove your credibility. So I'd like everyone, we're going to work together. We're going to make up in marketing strat. So let's everyone just get out a piece of paper. I'm going to ask you questions, and hopefully this will jumpstart you if you haven't already. I'm sure everyone's already well on their way to making their Q1 plans and everything. But okay, so again, I've made this for SMEs. So last year, how many clients did you sign? Write it down. I don't know how you're going to be ready, but everyone, just give me thumbs up or something to say that you've got a pen and paper in front of you, and or your phone or something. Give me a sign, because I can't. All right. All right. Okay. Have you, and give me a sign. Have you all, or you can even, I don't mind if you unmute yourselves, but let me know if you've written, how many clients did you sign last year? Write it down.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of
okay, sorry, I can't see, but okay. All right, so this year, I don't know how many clients you want to sign, but you can just follow this methodology that's on the slide. Let's say last year you signed 20 clients. Let's say last year you signed 10 clients, and this year you want to double and you want to sign 20 clients. Last year, if you had, how many meetings did it take to sign that number of clients, the clients that you've written down on the piece of paper? You need to work that out. You need to go back into your calendar, and or wherever it is. If you've got a CRM, that would be amazing. I don't know, everyone's levels of maturity in this area are different, but that's the base. How many meetings did we have to get 10 clients? Okay, and then what's the percentage of your close rate? 10 divided by however many of those meetings times 100. As a mathematician, I'm a very good marketer. So this is the slide I'm most scared of. So if I mess up the math here, please, I'm really good at marketing. So when you get the meeting, the person is like, I'd like to have a demo, or yeah, that sounds good. I'm available next week, Tuesday. That's a sales qualified lead. That's not marketing's job yet. We're part of that process. But if they've got someone that's interested enough to have a meeting, that's sales qualified. So if you want 40 of those, the next part to that is how many opportunities did we have to make? How many people did we have to get in touch with? A lot of your CRMs probably have this down as opportunity, or you might have it down as contacted decision maker. That's a marketing qualified lead. Marketing got someone that has intent, that wants to understand, that actually booked a demo. That's what marketing must be judged on. And how many of those do you need this year to get your 20 clients? You need 200 in your pipeline or whatever it is to get 14 meetings to get 20 clients. Okay. You need to go and count the opportunities, all the discussions you had, or someone that fell away, or the people that rejected you, or the number of business cards you picked up at a trade show, but then it didn't really go anywhere. That's the pipeline number. Then you work out the percentage for your meeting booked rate. Am I going too fast? Does anyone have these numbers right with them? Can't see. It's a one-way conversation. I can't see anyone.
I don't see many reactions. I think they still contemplating. They
Okay.
might be just contemplating
Okay.
these concepts.
Okay. All right. Then how many contacts, not lead, these are just names, just a name of a business or a person in a business, but we haven't communicated. How many leads do we need to come into our business, to know who they are, to see it or hear about it, or meet them somewhere? How many leads or just contacts are required to get to 200? Now, this is tough because you might not, only a mature marketing ecosystem can calculate this. So you could just work this out with some sort of like global benchmark. So if all your marketing activity would bring in 1,000, and marketing activity eventually has a 9% lead to MQL, right? And then outreach has 1 to 4%, but that's to get them to meeting booked. It's probably high. They all know you now because you're arrived in their inbox, so that's cheating, but it's much lower because everyone's doing it. It's super easy to automate cold email, to automate connect requests on LinkedIn, to automate the email messages. So wherever marketing is easy, you're on a highway and there's a lot of noise. So in 2026, what you might want to do if you're an SME is go where there's not so much noise, but you know that your clients are there. So can you see how you're going to work your 2026 goals backwards? Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, so I don't know if anyone here is in the logistics or freight side of the supply chain, but I love this. This is my favorite comparison. But marketing is like often overcomplicated and made very bougie. But for anyone who's in the freight and logistics side, marketing is exactly like last mile fulfillment. Okay, you're just trying to deliver the right message, the right thing. I want this case study. I want this blog. I want my thought leadership post on LinkedIn to get delivered to the right address. Okay, so it's not a channel yet. LinkedIn's not a channel, and Google SEO is not a channel, and even the direct email is not a channel. It's the destination of the content. It's where it needs to go, because that's where your client is. That's where the prospect is. If the prospect is not there, they don't get the delivery. So if you are someone, I don't know if there's anyone here, if your prospect, your perfect prospect, or the area that you are in e-commerce, you're some sort of order management system, or you're inventory management for Shopify, and you e-commerce, and someone says, oh, LinkedIn. The e-commerce people are trying to find their clients, and their clients are on TikTok and Instagram. So therefore, they are on TikTok and Instagram. They don't spend time on LinkedIn because they're not there. They're not like their clients are not there. So you could advertise and deliver it to LinkedIn, but it won't get into the hands of the person you're delivering it to. So always, it doesn't matter what people say about, oh, you need to do TikTok, and oh, you need to do this, and you need to do inbound leads, get HubSpot, da, da, da. Just think about, where's my person? Where's my person? That's where I deliver my messages to, okay? And at just the right time, when you think they need you most. And again, this is about measuring intent, which with AI has become much easier to do. You do this at the prospecting time, when you're actually looking for the kinds of people that you want to be in front of. There's unbelievable prospecting tools out there that will help you to work out what is the right signal that indicates that someone might be moving out of that 95% into that 5%. That's what you're trying to do in B2B, is look for them and then arrive, delivery, so that that contact becomes a Stevie Wonder sign seal delivered, I'm yours. And now you work in sales. Okay, so I don't know how we're doing for time, but when you're small, when you're big, you'll get to do everything. And even then, I will say to enterprise clients, you don't do everything. You do the things that have results. So, but when you're small, you might not know that. So while you're small, test things, but do it like this. We're gonna work out how to test it. We don't go to a platform just because someone told us to. We're trying to engineer what's already working and then get marketing to boost that performance. So the first question is, where did the majority of your clients come from last year? How did they find you? Whatever happened, it's not disconnected from marketing. Marketing always has a way to boost whatever that was. So if last year most of your clients came from network and referrals, then marketing has a place to boost that, to engineer networking, to engineer having your thoughts heard. And social media does a lot of that. Social media is so popular because that is the palace of word of mouth. And associations, Claire was so correct. If referrals is where you get most of your business, and associations are a way of engineering referrals much quicker, and partnership channels, then you choose those. So just write down one or two of the biggest ways you found that you got clients last year. Did people say they found you via research? Did they find you on some sort of directory, referral, word of mouth network, a partner? I know a lot of you might be in the service-based industries where you're rolling out or implementing different SaaSes, or you're the SaaS. So you're looking for the consultants that will roll your SaaS out to people. So the two of you need to talk, that's referrals. And then trade shows. Did you find most of your clients at trade shows? Outbound outreach, if you can set it and forget it, and automated outbound is low numbers, but it's about that known part. At least that you're putting yourself in everyone's inbox and not just being on LinkedIn being like, oh, I hope people stumble across us, So outbound is really effective for that known part. And then publicity and credibility, which is like awards and trade magazines and podcast guesting, get yourself onto podcasts and that kind of thing. But if you've got to split these up into long-term and short-term plays, I would put publicity in a long-term play, but it helps later on. Okay. I don't have feedback, but okay. Step 2, we're going to pick a destination, or just two, but the right destination for what we just worked out. Which marketing tactic is going to help us engineer what worked last year. Because once I know what that is, I now know which is the best destination, or in marketing speak, a channel or platform or a way of, the place I'm going to send my content to. And the content is different. Okay. So if it's research, if the person found you last year because they happened to find you on Google, you've got to do SEO and you've got to do AEO, the answer engine optimization, get cited in AI. That should drive, that's what you do. If last year people got you from partners, you need to build those co-partner marketing channels. And there are CRMs dedicated to just doing that. Not even like a Salesforce or a HubSpot. There's CRMs just for partnerships. If it was trade shows, and last year you got 7 clients on a trade show, but you did no marketing before, during, or after to boost it. If you did marketing before, during, and after for every trade show that you've got booked this year, you will 10x the 7. Because you're actively giving people a reason to come to the booth before, and they're reminding them after. And one of the things that I'm giving for everyone that came today is I've got Shelf's got a playbook, like a pre and post event content marketing playbook that you can use for all of the trade shows this year. That tells you, like, this is what you should serve them 90 days before the trade show. This is what you should serve everyone 30 days before the trade show. Sales guy should be sending this kind of messaging now. And on LinkedIn, we should be doing this. And also, so we've got a playbook. So I'll send it. It will be part of your package, and these slides will be in there as well. Sorry, are we running out of time?
Hela, we've got 2 minutes. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Write your content. Not every destination requires the same content. You'll get it over here. You can read this. This will help you to actually produce it. And this is so big. This is, the content strategy part of everything. It's so gigantic. I can't cover it in one session. And then what to track. Once you've picked your lane and the thing you're going to be serving on a lane and who it's going to and how it's going to get there, you now need a way to track it, just like supply chain. Okay. And each one of those have the vanity metrics and real ones. So on LinkedIn, a vanity metric is how many people saw it. But a real metric that you should be looking at is how many prospects that didn't know you before viewed your profile because of the post. Count those, because that shows that prospects that you are trying to find are coming to you, and impressions are your friends and employees and everyone else that are in your network. And again, there's a whole session that you can do on how to engineer your LinkedIn so that you can tell LinkedIn's algorithm, I don't want my friends and I don't want my competitors. This is how you engineer so that the prospects are seeing you and not your mates and employees. At the end of it, you want each lane, every quarter build a new lane with your destination and split your whatever the goal was, where we wrote down that we wanted to get 40 clients this year. You might have a whale that you're going after, or smaller clients like sardines, and they might be different, and the revenue across them might be different. So that you'll consider that when you're doing this. But it's as simple as this. It's not, people overcomplicate it, and that's why no one ever does anything. I had a whole thing about this, but if anyone is interested, I'll put it in the pack. But I also have an amazing way to build an automation that pulls your meetings as they happen. If you've got a meeting note taker over here, it pulls all of that unstructured data, and then it categorizes it into content nuggets, because this is the hardest part. Everyone has beautiful thoughts all the time and you're sharing them in your meetings, but then you never get it onto LinkedIn as your thought leadership. So this workflow I'll send it to you with how we categorize it and how you can mine it. And if you're AI, if you're playing on AI, you can go and automate your own thought leadership. And if anyone gets stuck along the way, I'll be your accountability buddy. Sometimes marketing just requires you to have someone that sits next to you and says like, push the button. It's going to be okay. You have 5 followers. No one's going to know it's not perfect, but you have to start somewhere. And if you ever need anything, if you ever say, oh, I'm going to launch it, but I don't know, and you just want someone to tick it, or you just need someone to push you and say, press publish, please phone me. That's a QR code, and it will take you to, I think, my Calendly or meetings, something or other. If you ever want to grab a coffee, or if you ever have a very specific tactic that you're thinking of, or you want to ask more questions about, in particular to supply chain, about prospecting, I've got a lot of ideas on if you do have an international audience. There are prospecting tools that you can use specific to supply chain. I'm sure a lot of you probably know them already, but like you can play with Import Yeti and then get that into Apollo, and then there's so much you can do. So if there's anything specific, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Hila, for those insights. I'm sure you'll get many inquiries from the colleagues. We do have only 8 minutes before the end of the hour, and I know some people probably need to drop off before then. Just to mention again, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, we will share the slides after the session, and the session is being recorded. So there's no issue. I just wanted to make sure that there is some time for audience participation. Is there a burning question or comment from the audience?
There are 2 questions in the chat, Bongeni, I think are quite good. One's a comment.
Let me just find those.
And well done, everybody, for...
Sorry, I can't seem to locate the... Okay.
Marketing educates the intent, while
sales assists in fulfilling the intent. Do you agree with that? That's Fortunate Sibusiso Netseng as definition. Marketing educates the intent, while sales assists in fulfilling the intent.
Yeah. So, and it also depends on that journey and how long it is. So if you're a product where the person doesn't know yet that, doesn't know that they need you, then you have to create intent. But if they've got a burning problem, like, oh no, my goods are stuck at customs, then if you're an importer of record or customs broker, then the person's going to go, how do I get my goods stuck? So it all depends on the level of the intent, I guess. So if it's my goods are stuck in customs holy hell, then I have massive intent, and the MQL to SQL is much shorter. But if it's, warehouse management systems, and you're asking someone long, so there's lots of marketing and lots of facilitating, like, here's how you make your decision, what else can we do for you? And sales and marketing hold hands a lot in those, because it's, hope that answers the question.
And if your point about export and import, I see that Vincent has added his banner, which is very clever of him, and he can help you with any import and export issues that you have. And he's got his telephone number and website there. So fabulous. Vincent? The other was Sarah. Sarah's promoting. Yeah.
Sarah, do you want to come in and just briefly ask your question? Go ahead.
Not a problem. Hi, how are you?
Well, thanks.
Hi, Sarah.
That's good. Thank you very much. It was quite an interesting session today. I think, from our side, I think you had a question for me. Sorry, I'm a bit flustered all of a sudden.
No worries. You put in a comment Do you live for the deal? Do results matter more than excuses? I just wanted to share.
I think you're looking
some insight.
salespeople.
Yes, yeah. So look, as recruiters as well, I think you would know sales still applies to us. So this was quite interesting. It's still about engaging and getting a network. So pretty much to summarize us as the 4PL group, we've been established now for 20 years. So we are across the board. So we've got, imports and exports, courier. We also have a brokerage side to the business. So overall, we're quite a diverse group of companies. Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
share your contact with somebody who's looking for a sales job. So I'm going to do that immediately. And well done for being brave.
Thank
no,
you. Thank you.
Mr. or Miss Songwani has a question, Bongeni. Should I read it? Or can you see it?
Yes. Do you want to tackle that, Claire?
Sure.
It's one
What's
mistake
one
you
mistake
see
you see
organizations
organizers
repeating.
repeatedly making in supply chain execution? Oh, I don't know if I should be doing a supply chain execution. I can help with sales, but maybe Bongeni, you can answer that. What's one mistake you see organizations repeatedly making in supply chain execution? Oh,
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe Nobilia wanted to talk about, I think, in the sales and the marketing side of things, which is
I know. I think she's
relevant.
looking for a need that she can fill, is what I'm thinking.
Mm.
Maybe
Yeah,
spending
so
too much processes.
depends which
Could I-
client you ask. It depends which of my clients you ask. So if
Maybe.
you ask the order management system, what's the biggest mistake you keep seeing people make in supply chain execution, they'll tell you one thing. And if you ask someone in
Can we reframe that question to talk about marketing and sales? So what is the one mistake that you're seeing consistently for in sales and marketing, which is relevant to the discussion today? Hila?
Yes.
Okay, I'll answer. I just have
Okay.
sort of two. I think one is spraying and praying. So you have your great database, you're very proud of it, and you send a blanket email out to everyone. Now, that does work in the SAPIC space because our members are already engaged with us and we know what they want. So we do send emails. Emailing is quite an important part of our marketing plan, and it does elicit results. For example, sending out the invitation for this webinar and the great results that we got. Another area that I think that people can spend money on that maybe doesn't need it is expensive and inappropriate advertising. For example, putting an advert in the Sunday Times. And when people are reading the Sunday Times, they're not thinking about work the next day. Just think about trade magazines, industry publications. That's where you should be advertising that talks to you.
The other day, I spoke to a trade show magazine that has 10,000 supply chain readers, and you can advertise. It's called like Crosstalk Insights or something like that. 10,000 supply chain leaders read it, and you can advertise it for $500 and be in front of 10,000 of the perfect customer if that's who you're trying to sell to. And then there are newsletters on Substack, and they'll have an audience of 3,000 people, but they might be the 3,000 people that you're trying to put yourself in front of. And
Absolutely.
because they're just a creator, you might be able to get an ad spot for $100, $50, or 100 Rand. So that's such a great point that you don't always think like it's big, start small and then go up. I think that's awesome. And then the one mistake I see all the time on content is people think that they will get engagement on their content of any kind by being smart. This is the mistake I see all the time. You get content on you will get engagement on your content when you make your reader feel smart. No one wants you to, no one cares that you're smart. But if you make me feel smarter because I read it, or if you gave me the call to action next that helps me to be smarter, that's that's engaging. That's when they save the post secretly because you've given them something that they didn't have yesterday. So whenever you write your content, whether it's a white paper or a research or whatever, or even just a singular post on LinkedIn,
Yes,
it's
we're gonna
don't.
have to
Yeah.
wrap up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Debbie.
That's fine.
It's 1 past 4, so I know people have to go. But thank you so much for those insights. It's been a brilliant and captivating session. And from all of
Thanks
us
for
at
having me.
Fapex, thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you at some upcoming events. We're hoping to have these quarterly sessions, these webinars for SMEs. So thank you very much. All the best.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bongeni.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.